your science teacher, LB Hamal. Welcome back to Tuesday morning class, grade 9 science. Today I'm going to teach about greenhouse. I hope you are enjoying distant teaching learning activities. This is a very difficult situation for the teachers, for the students all over the world. I'm very sure you are learning good by staying at home and watching Kalika SD. This program is brought by Bharatpur Metro PABSON Chitwan. Okay, so in today's class, I would like to welcome you. Have a look on my slide. Then after, I'll be going one by one. Well, so you are welcome in distant teaching learning activities. Okay, today I'm going to teach you about the greenhouse. So, what is greenhouse? So, a greenhouse is an artificial or maybe natural. So, let's talk about artificial first of all. It's a house-like structure with its wall and roof made up of transparent plastics or glass. This is also known as the hothouse. Plants requiring regulated climatic conditions or high temperature can be grown in it. Up-season fruits, flowers, vegetables can be grown in it. Likewise, it is very useful to farmers, botanists, plant researchers, olericulturists, floriculturists, horticulturists. Olericulturist means who grows vegetables. Floriculturist means who grows flowers. Horticulturist means who grows fruits. This is also useful at farm, nursery, orchard, garden, botanical garden, plant research centers, and many more. Okay. So, what does it look like? Just have a look on the board. So, let's talk about an artificial greenhouse. Okay. This is just a house-like structure, can be made at the backyard or the front of the house or in the garden or in the research center, plant research center, botanical garden, anywhere. So it can be that of different sizes, smaller, bigger, and bigger. So depending upon how big project is. Okay. So this is the roof. This is the wall. The wall or roof made up of glass or transparent plastic. If the project is for the long run and they make the greenhouse that of the glass, if the project is not that of long run, it's just that of a seasonal, for example, growing vegetables for 3 months and no need to invest a lot of money. That's why they just use the plastics. And even they can use the frame made up of steel or iron if the project is for the long run. If the project is just for the short run, they just make the frame of the bamboo frames. That's good. Okay, good. So inside of that house, the people grow the plants. People grow the plants. So the temperature inside of this house is comparatively greater or higher temperature inside rather than in comparison to the surroundings. That is why the artificial greenhouse sometimes is also known as hot house. If I go some slides and you see something about hot house, do not get confused with the greenhouse. The hot house and the greenhouse, the same thing. So why is this called greenhouse? Let's talk about something. Okay, we can grow the plants in it all around the year, 12 months a year. So we can grow up-season fruits and flowers. That's why the house is always green inside of it. That is why it is popularly known as greenhouse and ideal for some of the plants which may need some atmospheric conditions regulated. For example, still we can grow some of the plants. They grow in the summer, in fact, but we can grow the same plant in the winter inside the hothouse or greenhouse. Why? The temperature inside of it is more. So why the temperature is more inside of it? Okay, so the natural source of the heat and light is the sun. Okay, so solar radiations enter into the house like this, and so the radiations having the long wavelength may be escaped out from here, but short wavelength they just remain in here. The wavelength, the light of shorter wavelength having very high energy has got the heating effect, so that the heat gets trapped inside of it, and the environment inside of that house, which is made up of the glass or plastic, is comparatively hotter. It is suitable for growing all types of the plants all around the year, and that remains green for whole year. That's why that's called the greenhouse. So what is greenhouse? An artificial greenhouse is a house-like structure made up of plastic or the glass, which is used to grow the vegetables or crops or fruits in it. That remains green all over the year inside of it, because we can grow all sort of plants inside of it, because the temperature is comparatively higher. So another name of artificial greenhouse is the hothouse. This is very important to the botanist, the person who studies a plant researchers, the gardeners, the farmers, floriculturist, horticulturist, olericulturist. Olericulturist means the person who grows vegetables. Floriculturist means the person who grows the flowers. Horticulturist who grows the fruits. Okay, good. Well, let's have a look some of the greenhouses, the model of greenhouses on the screen. And this is an artificial greenhouse. So it looks massive and has got the steel frame and the glass roof and the glass wall. So the temperature inside of it is comparatively higher, and we can grow the plants all season inside of it. That's why the internal environment remains green all over the year. That's called it's a greenhouse. Okay, so a greenhouse made up of plastics. The first one was that of the glass, maybe somewhere from Botanical Garden Research Center for long term. This is a greenhouse made up of plastics, should be that of the short term and cheaper, made by the farmer in their farm. Okay, I think this is cost effective and easy and less investment. So tomatoes in a hothouse means inside a greenhouse. Tomatoes, have a look. So tomatoes grown inside of it. And it's a high temperature, and they grow good. And still the people, they cover the soil down there not to lose the moisture, then keeping the temperature higher. That gives the better product like this. Wonderful. So what did you understand that of the hothouse or greenhouse means? This is the house, cozy, comfortable house of the plants, not that of the human beings. This is the house of the plant. Green means plant. So working mechanism of greenhouse, I already explained how the greenhouse works. So a house made up of glass or plastic, how does it work? And how does it maintain the temperature inside hotter? Okay, so have a look. Stepwise, that transparent plastics or glass allows entry of light and heat in the house. That plastic wall or ceiling or glass wall or ceiling prevent escaping heat due to total internal reflection. Some of the heat can be still escape out, but in totality that we gain the heat inside will be higher. So anyway, we gain the heat. So the house gains the heat or traps the heat, whatever the amount is, but it still traps the heat inside. This may help to create optimum environment for a whole year, suitable to grow the plants inside of it. Okay, that's good. So this is the working mechanism of greenhouse. So the house made up of plastic or the glass traps the heat that keeps that higher temperature and makes suitable to grow the plants all over the year. Okay, working of a greenhouse, so let's have a look, the same thing, I've told that. So sun's short waves they enter, sun's long waves they get escaped, but infrared rays having the shorter wavelength, having high energy has got the heating effect will trapped inside the glass house or plastic house. That keeps the temperature higher, causing the heating effect. So in this way, the greenhouse keeps itself warmer and also known as hothouse and suitable or provides the optimal temperature to grow the plants whole year. That's interesting. So the radiations from the sun enters in it, and short wavelengths, that of the infrared rays, UV rays, and gamma rays, even X-rays, they get trapped. They have got a shorter wavelength and they have the heating effect so that the temperature increases inside of it. That's a reason. Next one, artificial greenhouse, and same thing more or less, the same thing explained here. Just background, you can read for a minute if you like. A greenhouse is a house made of glass. It has glass wall and glass roof. People grow tomatoes, flower, and other plants in them. A greenhouse stays warm inside even during in winter. That's why it is called hothouse as well. Sunlight shines in and warm the plants and air inside, but the heat is trapped by the glass and can't escape. So during the daylight hours it gets warm and warmer inside greenhouse, and it stays pretty warm at night too. Due to artificial greenhouse, people can grow plant in up season too. For example, we cannot grow kaoli during the July, and you can grow the kaoli inside the greenhouse, for example. Okay, so that's the reason. Importance of artificial greenhouse. So importance of artificial greenhouse, hothouse, it is very important. So basically this is important because we can grow up-season plants in it. For example, some of the species of plants, they can be grown throughout the year. Growing throughout the year. Fruits, up season. Fruits and flowers and other medicinal herbs, whatever. Plants grown in one season can be grown in different season. And suitable even to grow the crops, especially in cold countries, cold regions. So let me explain. Some of the things that we get in a particular season, for example, tomato has got a season, cauliflower has got a season, but inside the hothouse or greenhouse, we can grow these plants the whole year, throughout the year. We can grow the mangoes or potatoes the whole year. So anytime, so no problem, because the temperature is maintained inside of it. Up-season fruits and flower, so it's more or less the same thing. For example, naturally, let's say this is not the season of potatoes, but still people can grow potatoes inside the greenhouse. A plant, fruits or flowers or the medicinal herb that grows in a particular season may not get in another season, but inside a greenhouse, the same plant can be grown in different seasons, no problem. For example, we can grow the rice in the winter, so no problem, because the temperature is maintained, it's higher inside of it. Likewise, crops. Basically, the food crops, such as the rice or paddy, maize, wheat can be grown in large scale by making the big greenhouses. It's interesting. So have a look on my screen, and then after you get more ideas, so screen. Some species of plants can be grown throughout the year. This is the July, this is the August, this is the September, no problem. So any month, this is the winter, this is the summer, autumn, no problem. So any month, any season, no problem. Inside the greenhouse we can grow that species plants throughout the year. Fruits, flowers and vegetables can be grown in off-season inside a greenhouse. Off-season means actually or naturally this is not the season of that the fruits or flowers that can be grown any season, any time, any month of the year. No concern about the month, no concern about the seasons, no problem. Very suitable to cold countries to grow crops. In some of the very cold countries, we cannot grow the crops, and it takes more than 6 months to harvest the crops. But we can make a lot of greenhouses, the bigger size, then after we can grow the crops. I have seen a couple of videos, even you can watch from the YouTube. The agriculture in Tibet, Tibet is comparatively colder, the northern part of Nepal or southern part of China, and they're making a lot of the bigger sized greenhouses, and they are cultivating the crops inside the greenhouses, even rice. Okay, so you can watch that video if you like. The plants grown in summer can be grown in the winter inside a hot house. So the plant that actually grows in summer, you don't have to wait for the summer. You can grow that plant in the winter inside the hot house, means inside the greenhouse. So the greenhouse is very useful to whom? To farmer, botanist, gardener, agriculturist, plant researchers, okay, and many more. So wheat cultivation in a greenhouse. So it's a greenhouse inside of that, and they cultivated the wheat inside of it. They should be the scientists, and they are doing some sort of research inside of that. So have a look, wonderful. And that's rice. So rice cultivation in greenhouse. So not only rice inside a greenhouse, and they are providing the artificial light too. So the area or the month where there is very less sunshine and the rice or that particular plant does not get enough light, and they provide the artificial light that works like a sun. So how interesting it is. So we need to think about this in Nepal too for the revolution of agriculture. So government should think about that. So what do you think, student? So likewise, marigold cultivation in a greenhouse. So marigolds, you can grow marigold and you can sell them in the market to make money. So you can grow marigold in any season. You don't have to wait like autumn. So you can grow in any season. So inside the greenhouse, like this. Rose cultivation inside a greenhouse. Rose cultivation. So a lot of roses. So yeah, so rose is very expensive flower. Likewise, cactus inside the greenhouse, cactus growing. Basically, cactus, they grow in the hotter places, and some of the cold countries reason they may not be grow in natural environment. So when we make the greenhouse, they can easily grow inside of it. So maize in a greenhouse, one of the scientists doing some sort of research. Maize, that's a crop. So we may think about the greenhouse for the like seedlings only, or it is only for some small fruits and flowers. So that's wrong. It's for everything. Even bigger sized flowers and fruits, even timbers can be grown inside of it. So greenhouse is a cozy house for a plant, for plants. So green means plants, the house of the plants. So tomatoes, same picture I showed you before. So cucumber inside the greenhouse. So likewise, cucumber, so cucumber fruiting a lot. Have a look, there are a lot. So it's the industry. They're producing a lot to sell in the market to make money. so that the farmer can grow their economy in a country. So we should think about that. The orchid, beautiful flower. Naturally, they grow on the bark or trunk of the tree in the jungle, but still people can grow the orchids inside the greenhouse. So if you go to Kathmandu, Godavari, you will see some of the orchids growing inside the greenhouse too. Kathmandu, it's a Godavari. And latest, greenhouse plus hydroponics. Probably you've got one new words for hydroponics. What do you mean hydroponics? Greenhouse, these people growing lettuce inside a greenhouse, and they are not using the soil. They are using just water. Have a look. The water is draining out of the punnet. Okay, so hydroponic means growing the plants in the water, not in the soil. So they're growing the plants in the water. And what do? They use a sort of frame to support the plant from the top, and down there's just water. And inside the water, they put the nutrients what the plant needs. For example, nitrogen, or phosphorus, and calcium, potassium, or micronutrients like zinc. Okay, that sort of things they put in the water. So it's very cost effective and very good. So hydro means water, ponics means grow. So it's when we do the production of the plants in the water, that's called hydroponics. So the mangoes inside the greenhouse, so it's wonderful mangoes. They should be very yummy, I'm very sure. So have a look. So what are things not impossible inside the greenhouse? Everything's possible. So what a great picture. They grown a lot of good qualities of mangoes. I think these mangoes should have got the good market price. So salad leaves they have grown inside the greenhouse. So in large scale, have a look. So what a wonderful job. So we should think about this. It's a rose. They're growing beautiful roses inside of it. So you have a look. Potatoes. Okay, so the potatoes can be grown inside the greenhouse. And we can grow more potatoes, and we shouldn't wait for like November, December to show the potato, and we can grow the potato all around the year. Now let's talk about greenhouse effect. So greenhouse effect. Okay, so let me explain about these things for a minute, then after I'll take you to the slide. Greenhouse effect means let's play to screen to the person. So greenhouse effect means so what happens inside the greenhouse? So it's hotter. So that was made artificially by human beings. But actually, the earth itself is a greenhouse. It's a huge greenhouse, the big one. So the atmosphere, having the gases like carbon dioxide, X is the roof and wall, is same as that of the artificial greenhouse made up of glass or the plastic. As a result, the solar radiations that coming from the sun and the solar radiations, including UV rays having the shorter wavelength, they get trapped. They are responsible to increase the temperature, causing the heating effect. That's called the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse is a house that makes higher temperature. Effect is the phenomenon, the process of increasing the temperature of the earth. And earth itself is a greenhouse. So earth is a house and X is a greenhouse because the atmospheric layer, including the carbon dioxide around of it, X is the glass or plastic walls or roofs, is found in an artificial greenhouse. Because of that, the radiations get trapped inside the atmosphere of the earth and it hits the earth's surface. That phenomenon is known as greenhouse effect. The phenomenon of increasing the temperature is called greenhouse effect. And greenhouse effect is caused by some particular gases. These gases are called greenhouse gases. For example, carbon dioxide. Okay, let's have a look on the screen. I'll read out the screen. You can read with me if you like. Then after we'll be going further. Well, Earth itself is a huge greenhouse. We talked about a small greenhouse in the farm, but we are going to talk about the Earth itself is a huge greenhouse. The thick layer of atmosphere with carbon dioxide acts as the heat trappers as the plastic or glass wall or roof of the artificial greenhouse. As we made the artificial greenhouse by using wall and roof of the plastic or glass, but the Earth has got the wall or the roof made up of atmosphere, mainly the carbon dioxide. So responsible for this greenhouse effect. And because of that, the heat gets trapped coming out of the sun, and that keeps the Earth warm. This is a key to have a life on the Earth. So Earth is warm and cozy. That causes the life. That causes the origin of life and existence of life on the Earth. Greenhouse gases are responsible for heating the Earth, causing the greenhouse effect. So in the next slide, we'll be going, what do you mean by greenhouse gases? So what is greenhouse effect first of all? The phenomenon of increasing the temperature of the Earth is in the artificial greenhouse is called greenhouse effect or global warming. So what do you mean by greenhouse effect? The phenomenon of increasing the temperature of the Earth is in the artificial greenhouse. It's called greenhouse effect or global warming. So that's a process. Because of that the temperature of the Earth increased. Earth is itself a greenhouse. Greenhouse gases are responsible for, that should be FR only, so just a spelling error, the global warming. So what is responsible for global warming? The greenhouse gases. So what do you mean by greenhouse gases? Okay. Greenhouse gases are the gases which are responsible for greenhouse effect, or which are responsible for increasing the temperature of the Earth. The gases which are responsible for increasing the temperature of Earth are called greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases. Okay. The gases which are responsible to increase the temperature of the Earth are called greenhouse gases. Examples: carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbon. Oxides of nitrogen, water vapor. These are responsible for heating the Earth or responsible for greenhouse effect of the Earth. So the greenhouse effect of the Earth, and Earth itself is a natural greenhouse, and greenhouse gases are responsible for greenhouse effect. It means they are responsible to increase the temperature. They are responsible to trap the heat and responsible to increase the temperature. What are they? Carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, chlorofluorocarbon, CFC, oxides of nitrogen, nitric oxide, NO, or nitrogen dioxide, NO2, water vapor, H2O. Okay, these are the gases responsible to increase the temperature of the Earth or responsible to cause the greenhouse effect. And these gases are called greenhouse gases. The main greenhouse gas is the carbon dioxide, CO2. That's why more we produce carbon dioxide, more it causes the global warming or greenhouse effect. Okay, so have a look on my slide. So we did what is greenhouse effect? That's what we did. Okay, next let's talk about greenhouse effect. How does this happen? Greenhouse effect So that's the sun from the sun, the solar radiation passes to the earth, and some of them they get escaped out having the longer wavelength, but shorter wavelength they get trapped in the earth's atmosphere, causing the heating effect. Infrared radiation emitted from the earth's surface. Then after, most radiation absorbed by the earth's surface and warms it, causing the greenhouse effect. The atmosphere acts as the glass or plastic wall like that of the artificial greenhouse. They're causing the higher temperature of the earth. That's called the greenhouse effect. That is the mechanism. So greenhouse effect, it's better to have a look at this picture. Solar radiation that comes to the earth, and earth has got the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and the earth radiates the heat, and the earth absorbs the heat, causing the higher temperature. That's called greenhouse effect or global warming. Now, the greenhouse gases, we talked about greenhouse gases before as well. The gases which are responsible for the increment the temperature of earth, called the greenhouse gases. For example, carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbon, oxides of nitrogen NO or NO2, water vapor H2O. It is estimated that the carbon dioxide contributes 57% of the greenhouse effect of the earth. So the main gas responsible for greenhouse effect or main greenhouse gas is the carbon dioxide. That's the number one. That contributes 57%. Chlorofluorocarbon contributes 25%. Methane contributes 12%. And oxides of nitrogen that contributes 6% in the greenhouse effect. And other gases like water vapor, they contribute, and the vapor of the water, it contributes a bit little, so it's very negligible. Okay, so these are the greenhouse gases. Importance of greenhouse effect. So, is greenhouse effect very advantageous? Let me explain about it. If there is no greenhouse effect on the earth, earth would go extremely cold, which was not suitable for existence and origin and its existence of life. That's why this keeps the earth warm and optimal, cozy. Cozy means comfortable. That made possible an existence of life on the earth. If there was no greenhouse effect, the temperature of the earth would be less by 39 degrees Celsius. That's why the temperature of the earth would be minus, and the earth would be covered by the snow everywhere or ice. However, if there is very high degree greenhouse effect, there will be adverse effect of greenhouse. That's called the global warming. So, is greenhouse effect useful? Answer: yes, it is useful because it keeps the earth warm and it makes the origin and existence of the life possible on the earth. So, what would happen if there was no greenhouse effect? The earth would be covered by the snow or ice, and there would be no origin and no existence of the life, including the human beings. But global warming causes the adverse effect. Adverse effect means bad effect. Adverse impacts of greenhouse effect. So adverse impact means the disadvantages, effects on animals. So what are the impacts that caused by the greenhouse on animals? So greenhouse effect causes the diseases to the organisms, because in higher temperature, the disease causing organisms, we say pathogens, for example, the bacteria and viruses, they get activated. Disease transmitting insects, for example, mosquitoes, they grow at higher temperature, and there would be loss of biodiversity. If some species they grow in optimal temperature, if the temperature increases, they will die and they will be vanished. Likewise, same effects will be seen in the plants. There will be change in the cultivation and harvesting time. So, yeah, the same time that we used to cultivate may not be suitable for that, and harvesting will be different. Tropical species found in temperate region means the species that are found in Terai region may be found in hilly region. So there will be increment of pathogenic organisms and insects that causes disease to the plants. There will be loss of diversity as well is found in animals. Likewise, effect on climate, increment of temperature of the earth causes the melting of polar snow caps and rise in sea level, change in pattern of rainfall. Sometimes we experience rainfall that is actually not the time of rainfall. We are expecting rainfall, but we are experiencing a very drought, no rainfall. That's a change in the pattern of rainfall because of greenhouse effect and climate change. Natural disasters may occur such as flood, desertifications, and many more. Cyclones, yeah. So because of heating of the earth. Okay, cool. So try to understand what are the effects, negative impacts because of greenhouse effects on animals, on plants, and on climate. So control of greenhouse effect. For the control of greenhouse effect, we need to control the greenhouse gases. Number one, there should be afforestation. Afforestation increases the O2 level and decreases CO2 level. Reduction of fossil fuels, coal, mineral oils, etc. They emit carbon dioxide in the environment. Ban of CFC, especially CFC used in fridge, spray cans, and air conditioner, that shouldn't be used. That should be banned. We should use clean energy such as solar energy, wind energy, hydropower, etc. There should be use of public transport rather than using the cars. We should go green. We should apply the practice, reuse, recycle, and reduce the pollutants. So we should reuse, recycle, and reduce the things that we use. That causes the control of greenhouse effect, and we can save the earth. Well, that's all for today. So thank you. You have a good day today. Your homework is reading homework. When I come back next week, I'll be teaching you climate change, and I hope you enjoyed a lot today and learning about greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases, its negative impact. Okay, so keep on learning, keep on watching us. Thank you very much. You have a good day today.